Happy New Year, everyone, and welcome to January in Iowa. This year, the Iowa Department of Revenue has given us a little something new that we need to do, which is to upload our W-2 and 1099 data when we have had withholding for the state of Iowa. So today I'm going to show you how to create that file, and I'm going to begin with using Choice Filer. Choice Filer is the software that we use, and so it's the vehicle that I'm going to use to show you how to do this process. The first thing I'm going to do is I've got my company selected, and so I'm just going to click OK. And up along the top on the left-hand side, one of the first things you need to do in Choice Filer is to fill in the submitter information. So you would go to File and down to Submitter. Under Submitter, you're going to be putting in your information, and if it's your company that you're submitting for, you'll of course put in your info. If you are a submitter or a bulk filer for other people, you're going to fill in your information. So you're going to want to put this info in here, and you're going to need to fill out all three tabs. You're going to do the Contact tab, the Submitter tab, and the Company tab. Now, I'm just going to briefly mention that under the Submitter tab, you need to put in that EIN information. You're going to want to put in that employer ID info, and then what kind of a preparer you are. Are you an accounting firm and preparing for other people? Are you a self-prepared, meaning you're doing this for your own company? A service bureau, if you're a parent company and you have multiple companies under that company, or another type of filer. So make sure you select that, and then fill in your company name and address, if you would, please. All right, so that's all you have to do, and I'll mention that you only have to do this once. So let's say you are filing for 50 companies. You only need to put in this submitter information once, not 50 times. So don't worry about that. This is a one-time deal that you have to do. And you'll want to fill in your information like your email and that type of thing too. All right, so I'm going to click OK. And then the next step is going to be filling in your information for your client file. So what you're going to do your client file data is you're going to go up here to Utilities, and then you're going to select Client File. All right, so under that client file, you're going to put in the company information. And so if you're filing for yourself, you'll put in your company info. If this is for a customer or a client, put in their information. All right, so that's all you have to do there. Their name, address, phone numbers, those kinds of things. And you don't have to put in the phone, fax, email, but you do need to fill in the payroll year end date. Now, under the Reporting tab, this is very important. This is something new. So if you've used Choice Filer in the past, you're used to putting in the federal ID number, the state ID number, but now we have to fill in the other EIN used because of the state of Iowa requirement. So in order to do that state filing correctly, you're going to fill in the BEN number. So if you are paying taxes online or paying for someone else, you already have a BEN number, and so you would use that number here, of course, not my number, your BEN number. I will mention that I had a question when I did a seminar that someone asked, how do we get that bulk filing number for the BEN number for bulk filers? And I have included that on the instructions that you will receive along with this. It's on the Iowa Department of Revenue's website, and there's a link. You fill out an application and send that to them, and then they will give you a bulk filer number if you need one. You'll also want to select the kind of payer that you are. Most of you are going to be 941. And the kind of employer, you don't need to fill out anything unless you're definitely a 501c or something like that. But most of the time, this won't matter for Iowa. This is more for the federal type of filings. So that is all you need to do there. At this point, you're actually ready to create your file. So then you will go under Reports, and you're going to start with Employee Reports. So now we're going to create that W-2 files. I will tell you that if at this point, if you haven't already created and printed out your W-2s, I highly recommend you do that at this point. If you don't do it and you create your file and upload it, and then you realize that you've got information in there incorrectly for the employee or your amounts are wrong, then you have to resubmit a corrected file. And I haven't had to do that yet, so I'm not even sure what the process will be for the state. But it's a lot easier to do that corrections before you actually create this file. So do those W-2s first. All right, so once you're in here and you have confirmed that your information is correct, it's a very simple process. You go down and you click on the e-file, and then you'll see that all of your other options go away. Now all you have to do is click on print, and it's going to come up and it's going to give you to save your W-2 e-file. You don't have to do anything else. So you're going to get that option. It automatically defaults to W-2 report, but the state of Iowa does not like that name. So what you're going to do is you have to give your file a name that is in compliance with the state of Iowa. All right. So what you want to do is, you'll see I have several here because I've created this file several times. But what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to enter in the IA W-2 a hyphen, and then you're going to use your BEN number. So that's going to be your BEN number, another hyphen, the year that you created the file, which is going to be 2019. You do not want to use 2018, even though that's the tax year that you're reporting for. It wants you to use the year that you're actually submitting the file. All right, so it's going to be the 2019, and then a 3-digit number. What I recommend doing is that you begin with 001, and then you need to put a .txt. I'll mention that these instructions are also all in my written instructions for you. So if you need to go back and review those, that will be an easy reference guide for you. So the file naming convention is going to be, as I said, the IAW2 hyphen, your BEN number hyphen 2019. And since I have already created this file multiple times, I'm going to have to change that number to a 9 because the state of Iowa will, if you have to resubmit more than once, it will not take the same number. So you would just simply want to enter a different number. So I'm going to do 09. One thing I would like to also mention is while you are here on this screen, make note of the location of the file where you are saving it. It should default to the CF 2018 folder. If it doesn't, just simply write down exactly where it is and write down the name of the file that you just created. At that point, all you have to do is click Save. Click OK. You don't need to pay attention to the Mag Media message, and you're done. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and we're going to flip over and look at the website for the Iowa Department of Revenue. So I'm going to click, I'm going to stop that for just a second. All right, so now what we're going to do, is we're going to enter in my username and ID. That will of course be your username and ID that you use for your Iowa Department of Revenue site. And then put in your password. This is all stuff you've probably done already, so I'm going to click Login. At this point, you're going to enter in your BEN number. Mine happens to be for my test website. And then put in your user ID. And your password. And click Login. All right. Now, if you are a W-2 wage filer for a single company, your options are going to be W-2 wage statement and 1099 information return. If you are a bulk filer, you're going to have a different option underneath of this, and you'll be able to see those screenshots in the instructions that I have written for you. So you would select that option and then go in and say you want to upload your W-2s. All right, so right now I'm going to go ahead and click on my W-2 wage statement and enter there. And then you're going to get the W-2 wage statement upload screen. Now, more than likely, you're not going to have this list, but because I do, we'll go ahead and just take a look at how you would proceed. You're going to click on Upload New File, and then you're going to get this screen, and you're going to want to select Choose File. Now, here's where it's really important that you remember exactly where you saved your file. And so mine is under my clients folder. And I just am going to use the one that's the 09. And if you see, for those of you that maybe aren't familiar with it, it will give you your date and time. So if you get confused, you can just make sure you select the right one. And now that you have selected the file, you'll see it here, and you simply click on Upload. Now it's going to take a few minutes, depending, or a few seconds anyway, but depending on how busy the website is for the Iowa Department of Revenue, and it will continue to get busier as the month goes along. So be patient, because at some point you're going to get a screen that's going to give you your results. If it doesn't pop up, you might click on the upload screen again. I don't like to do that for fear that it's going to see two files, but all right. So now I did that, and now I'm getting this screen. It's probably going to give me an error, which is why you shouldn't do that. It's going to say idle for just a little bit. Once again, depending on the timing, you can click on refresh, and it will give you the file. Now, because I uploaded that file twice, one of them says completed, file processed with no errors. If you click on the download result option, it will give you your report in a PDF format, or a note format, I should say. And it will give you accepted, one, and then it will give you these numbers. I like to print that off, just do file and print. And you might also save as, just remember where it is that you save it. Just do save as, and then you can select wherever it is you want to save that folder, but it will give it the same name without the hyphens, and it will give you results.txt. All right. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like when the file is rejected. It still gives you the results. And once again, we'll go down and open up that file. Now it tells you file name must be unique. So if you saw that there were two files with that same name, you'll know then it won't take that file twice. So if you try to upload a second file and you don't change the name, that's the message that you'll get. Let's see, I can show you maybe one more that has the results where something went wrong. It's going to give you a long message. I really recommend that you save it and print this, so that if you don't know what to do to fix the problem, you can get assistance either from the state. There is a list, and I believe we have already sent that to you, of different reasons why the file might be rejected. So if you need help with that, you can always contact us, or you can contact the state. I know they're really busy with a lot of questions, so you might have to wait a while, but if you want to get a hold of us, we can certainly try to help you fix the problem. All right, so that's going to take care of it as far as the W-2 file upload. Let's go back to the main menu, and I'm going to go back to Choice Filer, and I'm going to move to my company that has my vendors in it. Now, you'll probably have vendors and your 1099 or your 1099 data for your vendors and your W-2 data all in one company. since this is a sample company, I do have to switch. All right, so now that you've already set up your submitter information, you don't have to do it again. However, if you haven't, if you only have 1099s, then you'll have to fill out that submitter info again. Same thing with the client file. You won't need to do that again unless it's a new company. And now we're going to go under reports and we're going to go to vendor reports. All right, so now under my vendor reports, this is going to give me a whole list. And if I wanted to review that first, I would certainly suggest you review all of your vendor information. It's always possible that you have missed a check that you have sent to a vendor, or maybe you paid them for something besides labor and you don't want to include that. So you might want to just double check your numbers for your vendors as well. Once you have verified those amounts, you simply click on e-file, and you need to make sure that you select your 1099 type miscellaneous. At this point, you simply click print, and once again, it defaults to IRS tax, but Iowa doesn't like that, so we are going to have to give it a new name.
Hey,
I'm going to go to my...
I'm not seeing whatever you're typing. I'm seeing revenue. It's something keeps popping up like I'm seeing it, but I'm not seeing that. Wherever you making that change. So if you can
okay. All right, that's weird. I suppose, hold on. We'll have to take that part out.
Yeah. So if you just want to start again at that part, whatever you were.
Oh, okay. For the 1099s completely, or just, okay. All right, I can do that.
Department of Revenue screen, and whatever you were just talking about when you went there, I didn't see it.
Okay. You know what I'm going to do? I don't know why that file, because you saw it before when I did it, right? I mean, when I went to name the file, you saw it then, right?
No, it popped up quickly and went away. It was weird.
Oh, okay.
So
all right. I might have to just stop share and reshare it again or something.
Yeah. So just go ahead and stop there and then start over on that part.
Okay. All right, so now we are going to go ahead and do our 1099 file. So under my 1099s, if you have already set up your submitter information, you don't need to do that again. If you haven't, you'll need to go look at the instructions for submitter. And same thing for the client file. If you haven't already filled out your client file information, you'll want to do that. And you'll want to go back to the instructions and review how to set up your client file. Otherwise, we're ready to click on reports, and we're going to do vendor reports. At this point, I do recommend that you print out your 1099 miscellaneous files and verify that you have all of your information correct as far as the vendor name and their contact information and their numbers, the amounts are correct. Once you have verified the information, just simply click on e-file.
I'm not seeing that.
You don't see my vendor reports file?
No. I don't know why. I'm not seeing anything. I'm seeing the Iowa Department of Revenue screen. That's it.
Okay. All right. You know what? I'm going to stop share.
Okay.
Okay. And then I'm going to share, and I'm going to go back and get this. Okay. Now you should be able to see it, right?
Seeing it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'm going to start. I'll start the 1099 part all over again.
Okay.
All right.
Yep.
All right. So now we're going to go ahead and submit and create our 1099 file. So once again, we're going to go to our folder, and you won't have to do this. You'll probably already have your company open. However, if you are using this for multiple companies, you may need to switch which company you're working with. For me, I'm going to use this company as where my vendors are. And at this point, if you have not filled out your submitter information, you'll still need to do that. You can go back to the instructions and review the submitter file information. Also under utilities, if you have a new client and you're filling out information for them, you'll want to make sure you have that done. And remember, under the reporting tab, you'll want to make certain the other EIN used is your client's number, or if you're filing for yourself, it will be your number. That's where your BEN number goes. So it's the BEN number under the other EIN, employer identification number used. And now we're going to go to reports. And this time we're selecting vendor reports. Just like for the W-2s, I highly recommend that you do a summary of your reports and you verify that your vendors and your their amounts are correct, because it's easy to miss a check or to have the wrong type of check in there. So just verify that information before you create this file. And so we're going to select e-file and 1099 miscellaneous. Now, one thing I do want to point out is that if you don't have any Iowa withholding, if you didn't withhold for any of your 1099 people, you don't need to submit a file. You'll just do it the way that you've done it in the past. However, if you've done any withholding for Iowa taxes on your 1099s, then you do have to submit this file. So make sure you read that information, and I have included that in my instructions as well. All right, so now that we have selected e-file and 1099 miscellaneous, we're ready to create that file. So I just go down and click on print, and it is going to generate that file. So now it defaults to the IRS tax name. However, we don't want to use that because the Iowa Department of Revenue doesn't like that name. So instead, it wants you to name your file IAIR hyphen, use your BEN number hyphen the year 2019. And the first time you create this file, you're going to want to use the numbers 001 and then .txt. Okay, so I have created this file multiple times, and so I'm actually going to just grab one of the old files, and I'm going to change that last number to the number 9. But make certain you use that naming convention IAIR and begin it that way. These are also all in the instructions. All right, so once you've created that file, you click Save. And now we are ready to go to the Iowa Department of Revenue. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to go back to the Iowa Department of Revenue's website. And this time I'm going to select 1099 information. So now we're going to log in and we're going to upload, and it will say right there, 1099 information return upload. Click on Upload New File, and then choose your file that you just created. And now it will give you your file name. We're going to upload that file. You click on the upload, and sometimes it takes a little bit to get to this screen. It just, like I said, depends on your internet speed and how many people are on the site using this service at that time. Now, if it doesn't pop up with a result after a little bit, click on refresh. And so my file got rejected, okay? So I don't really know why, but we can take a look. Let's go look at the download result. And now you'll see it tells you all this information and what's wrong with that file. So what you'd want to do at this point is you would want to print that file off and look up what are those issues. So don't panic because you can go back and recreate that file. However, if it worked fine, you're going to see that it was completed, the file processed with no errors. And let's just look at what that file is going to look like. So when your file is accepted, you will see this message, accepted, and then you will have a series of numbers for your confirmation. What I highly recommend you do is go ahead and print this off or just save as, and you might want to just do both very quickly and put it with your paperwork, and you're done. So that is all you have to do to create your file and upload it to the state of Iowa. I hope this has been helpful. Go ahead and double check the instructions that you've also received. And if you have any questions, there will be a way that you can reach out to me, and I will be more than happy to assist you. I am not a bulk filer, but I can help you with your filing. So just let me know. Otherwise, thanks for your time.